Hello everybody, Van Stewart here,
And this is Jen Stewart.
and we have been quite busy for a while, so we have not posted a video, so we're going to try to make up for that today. The last time we got together, we talked about going to Playa del Carmen in the Riviera Maya area of Yucatan, Mexico. We had a ball, but we didn't get to finish that story, so I want to take a part two now and tell you a little bit more about that. When we last got together, we talked about the resort we stayed at, the Van&Jen Resort. Very nice looking place. Would not stay there again, though. There are a lot of things that go into that. The way they tried to upcharge us for everything was so expensive. But we went one night to the city. The city of Playa del Carmen, the city was amazing. We liked the city so much that we actually went back again and stayed a full day. If you ever get a chance to go to this area, if you can't stay in the city and you're staying at a resort, spend as much time as you can in the city of Playa. It's amazing. I mean, we saw restaurants, we saw food. What do you think about Playa?
I really enjoyed the city. We went later in the day, the first trip. So we took a bus from the resort to the city. And it was just fun to like kind of get some grasp on what the area looked like around us. And like just traveling, just seeing the cars and seeing the police and seeing how normal everyday people, operate there.
Yeah.
And it was nice to go to the city and spend some time. So the first trip was nice, just to kind of get a different feel of how the common folk.
Exactly. And the cool thing was, at the resort, I tell people to kind of gauge things. At the resort, they offer you tours of the city. But if you go to the city itself, you can get the same tour people for about 75% off the price. They upcharge everything at the resort. Just keep that in mind. So we did take the bus to the city, and I forget, the bus was not much money. I think it was like $5 or something like that, if that much. But the bus drops you off. It dropped us off at the back of a gift shop, which is kind of weird. You get dropped off at the gift shop and they say, hey, meet back here. And they have a return bus every 2 hours. So we got there, I want to say like around 11 o'clock or so.
Yes.
And they have a return bus at 1, at 3, at 5, at 7, and at 9 p.m. You miss that 9 p.m. bus, you're taking a private Uber or something back to your resort, which can be a little costly. So we made sure that we took the 7 p.m. bus, I believe, back.
Yes.
We got back in time to make sure we got back okay. And we got back in time to realize that we wanted to go back to the city of Playa.
Yes.
The first day we went to a mall.
Yes.
And that was what was the name of the mall we went to? I can't recall.
I think it was Paseo del Carmen.
Paseo del Carmen, I believe that's right. And it was a really big mall. I was surprised. It was part outdoor, part indoor. But there were so many stores there, all the same stores you expect to see anywhere else. Lots of food places, but it was part indoor and part outdoor. So there were lots of birds flying in and about, which was kind of unique. Restaurants, shops. We snacked a bit here and there, and we did a lot of walking. So make sure if you do go, you take some comfortable shoes, tennis shoes, nothing hard, nothing heeled, because if you do, you're going to be in a little bit of pain. We walked throughout the mall, back and forth. We ended up walking actually down the one main street,
Fifth Avenue.
Fifth Avenue, and that took us to the fancy hotels and all the way out into the community where the people lived. Now, the further we got out, we noticed there were more and more restaurants, which I was very happy to stop and get some chow done. But we stopped at one place and we just had like something light, just to see what it was like. Took a few pictures. We met a few people just walking back and forth. In fact, we saw one guy carrying his luggage. He actually took a flight there and took a bus to that area in Playa, and he had rented a condo. His condo, he told us the price. I wish I could convey it into US dollars, but it was ridiculously cheap. Much cheaper than we paid for the resort. But he had done this before, so he knew what he was doing. I just tell people, if you're gonna go for the first time, you might wanna do a resort until you get acclimated and know the area. But if you're gonna go back on a regular basis, definitely go the Airbnb route or rent yourself a condo within the city of Playa. That's where all the happening stuff is.
Yes.
And on our second trip back to Playa, we went early in the day. We wanted to stay all day and take advantage of all the stuff the city had to offer.
Yes.
We walked much more, went to several shops. She bakes, so we bought some Mexican vanilla. We got some of that.
Yes, that's one thing I try to get whenever we're in Mexico, is to test out what vanilla that they have. I also, one tip I wanted to remind everyone is when you get off the bus, take a picture of where you're dropped off at. Take a picture, take a look around to get your bearings, because everything is going to look the same, in my opinion, when you get back. So that's one tip. But yes, that was one thing that I did pick up, and I always pick up when I'm in Mexico, is their vanilla. It's delicious.
Well, see, she takes pictures of where we stop. I take pictures of restaurants. And I found a place, we're just walking around, called Tacos and Kebabs. It was amazing. I'm going to put pictures of that up on the site so you guys can see it. But they have the best food. And the owner actually was from Mexico, but he lived in LA and had a restaurant in LA for a long time. But he told us how much easier it is to own a business in Mexico. You don't have a lot of the hubbub and red tape to owning a restaurant. He said you find a location. Now, you don't have the ability to pay monthly. He said you have to put up this large amount of money up front. Then it's your restaurant. There's not like a mortgage. He said they do have banks that do that there, but it's like hard to do, hard to get. He took business money from his business in LA and bought a restaurant actually in the Playa del Carmen area. And it was really nice. It was a small little place. Might have had 12 seats out in front.
Yes.
4 tables, but it was really, really good. And the price was so cheap.
That was my favorite place to eat. It kind of was like street food-ish, but they were very kind and they did serve you. And I wanted to go back. I got lamb tacos that were amazing, and I wanted to go back. So we went at least twice to that.
I think we went 2 or 3 times. I think we did it several times. But when I find something I like, I'm going to go back. I don't want to get too adventurous, because as you're walking down the street, people try to grab you. Come in here, have free drinks. It's going to be a free drink. You know, this, that, the other. Free smoke. And it's really weird because people offer you smoke pot everywhere you go. I don't smoke pot, but it was so weird. Everywhere we went, people assume the Americans have got to want to smoke pot, right? Not so much. So we got offered that quite a bit. But we did buy some things for our grandkids. We bought some toys for them, some little knickknacks. But be careful, because if you buy a lot of stuff, you're going to have to carry that stuff around with you. You don't want to be encumbered as you're walking. And the heat, it was hot. It was pretty hot. Now, I don't mind the heat. In fact, right now it's about 25 degrees in Chicago, so I wish I had some Yucatan heat. But it was very, very hot. And I was dressed with jeans on, should have some shorts. So I was sweating pretty good. But she had a dress, something airy.
Make sure you have your sunscreen. I mean, regardless of who you are, you should have sunscreen, a hat. I always wear a visor, or a lot of times I'll have a visor on. Definitely want to protect yourself because it is very warm there.
Yeah. And the cool thing, while we were in the town, we wanted to take a tour and see some other things in the area. But like I said, at the resort, everything was so marked up that we didn't really want to do that. We're walking down that main street and we saw a tour area where a guy kind of flagged us in. He said, hey, we're selling tours. I'm thinking, okay, how much is this markup going to be? It was the same tour company at the resort. It's just that you pay 3/4 less if you buy it from them directly and not buying at the resort, which is nuts. Same people. In fact, the tour bus came to the resort to pick us up. So you can either pay X at the resort or pay 1/4 X if you buy it from them directly. So we filled everything out and bought it right there. They told us what time they'd be at the hotel to pick us up at our resort, and they were there. And the coolest thing about that was we got to go through an all-day tour of the Yucatan. We drove through, we stopped at a mall where they had food and lunch for us. They had an authentic Mexican lunch. And we also drove further on, got to a gift shop where they had lots of gifts made by locals. I bought a hat, I believe, and a shirt. I can't remember.
Is that where we had lunch?
We had lunch, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at that particular place, I didn't buy anything there, but it was mainly because they didn't have any listed prices. So
Right.
I know our prices are going to be different than the locals. I get that. But there wasn't anything there that I had to have, and I didn't buy anything there. We did pay for dinner, right?
We paid for the
lunch.
dinner. We paid for
Yes.
lunch, yeah. We paid for
But
lunch.
I didn't want to buy anything because I didn't know exactly what the pricing would be. And since they didn't have prices listed, I just let that go.
You'll find a lot of places they go there and they're expecting you to haggle. There are no prices listed, so it's like they say this and you come back with that and you meet in the middle. I hate doing that because I want the price to be the price. But you can get some good deals if you're willing to haggle and talk, or if you do the walk-away trick. They say the price you walk away, the price will suddenly get instantaneously lower.
Now, you did pay for something to support the local schools.
Right. They had a thing there where our tour guide was also a professor, which was kind of neat. And he talked about this place we stopped at. They support the local schools and the community. So I made sure we gave some donations for that because I want to do that, do our part to support the locals. And the food was pretty good.
Yes.
The food was really good. And they tell you that all the proceeds from this will go to the local community around that area.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff was pretty pricey. She's not joking about that. So you got to be careful. But it was cool because we stopped there. And then we drove another couple of hours to the Cenotes. And that was really, really neat. I've got a video we're going to post about that. I did post one already. So if you see the water, the big water body, Jen actually jumped in. I didn't jump in. I just filmed her jumping into it. I was going to do it. But you can put your clothes in a locker if you have a swimsuit. And they'll give you like a life vest. You can actually jump into these, they're like underground, like water caverns, basically. And how was that for you? Because you jumped in. I didn't do it. What did you think of that?
I was excited, and I was looking at it like I would not likely go back. And it was great until I walked all the way down the cavern, and I don't like high dives. I never liked high dives. Like growing up, I was always on the short one. And so when I got up there, I was like, it's really high up here. But they make you rent a life vest, so I had that. And I was like, well, I'm next, so I got to go. So I just literally walked off the plank. Like,
but the video was cool of her doing it. It looks like she's a professional.
I figured, I'm here, so I might as well do it. And then you're in the water and I was thinking, okay, how long is it going to take me to get back to the surface? But I made it to the surface and got out, and it was a great experience in the fact that, like I said, I probably would never do it again, but there were other people out there, so I figured I can't be the slowest if there's anything in the water, but it was a great experience.
I was proud of her because I wasn't going to do it. I was not going to jump in that cenote. I don't want to hear any Free Willy or Shamu jokes if I jump in the water. So I let her do it, and I just filmed her doing it. So,
you never told me that.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do it. So now she knows. But if you look at the video, you'll see the water body where she jumped in, and it was really great. So she gets out, we get dried off. We had some snacks there, actually. Notice there's a trend with me and snacks, right?
Yes.
So we had some snacks there, and she gets dressed. We get back on the bus, and then we continue our tour. Now, the next part was kind of neat because that's when we stopped at the mall area, right? Where we saw the park, I think.
Yes.
I think we stopped at, after the cenote, we stopped at, no. Yes, we did. Yeah, that was the park. We stopped at the park. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to butcher this name, so bear with me. It's the Valladolid Main Plaza. It was a big outdoor park with people dancing.
So
beautiful, beautiful place. People were dancing, and it was so nice. The music was amazing, and I got video of the dancers out there. And across the street, you'll see lots of tour buses parking on this main road. And across the street, there's a big, eatery, like a big complex where they have restaurants and little gift shops and jewelry places, and anything you want is there. So we stopped, and guess what? I ate again. I ate some more food. We got some local food. And the further you get out of the main touristy areas, you'll notice the price comes down a lot.
Yes.
Because that's where the regular people eat. Mm-hmm. And I think our meals there were about $1 a piece, if that. Mm-hmm. And we took some home. So the further you get out, back then the peso exchange rate, I forget what it was. It was around 17 to 1. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is right now. But if you travel to the Yucatan, to Mexico, make sure you check the exchange rate. I know the U.S. dollar is dropping a lot now, unfortunately, but check that and you get a lot of bang for your buck. And we did really well there. Mm-hmm. Eating, shopping, we bought gifts back for the kiddies. And the cool thing is, our tour guide I said before was a professor at one of the local schools. He knew so much history. And we actually went, on the end of that tour, we went to see Chichen Itza. If you haven't seen Chichen Itza, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world, it is amazing. I have 2 videos we posted. Check those out. The pyramids of Chichen Itza are just fantastic. They're fantastic. We haven't seen Egypt yet. We're gonna go there later. But Chichen Itza is it's just dynamic. And when he explained to us the story and the history behind how the people there kind of died out, they didn't really die out. They left. they were doing so much prosperous work, and they were growing in numbers that they couldn't support themselves. So they just left to go and find better areas. So when the Spanish came to conquer them, there was nobody there to conquer. They left already. So the Spanish came and took this area over, and they kind of took over nothing. But they have history of murals you can see where you have people in the murals, you can see them like fighting with knives. And they thought that if they sacrificed themselves, the gods would bring plenty back to the area. They didn't understand that the numbers were growing too fast. They couldn't produce enough food to feed themselves. So the self-sacrifices didn't really work. But they did that anyway. And there's pictures of that where people would sit there and they wanted the honor of dying for their people. So that you would actually want to go in there and get your head chopped off in the hopes that you could help your people live and thrive. So that was kind of cool. So we did that. And on the way back, we also had gotten offered to buy some local liquor. They make this liquor drink that is so cool. And here's a bottle of it. They actually put our faces and our picture on the bottle. And this bottle is supposed to be like an elixir to help you with all of your pains, your ails, whatever bothers you. But it was really something just to contribute to the local community. And we bought ourselves a bottle. We haven't even opened it yet. But they gave us a sample on the bus. And it tasted pretty good. So we did that too. But yeah, Chichen Itza, if you go look at our page, you can see some really good video of that. And it was just phenomenal. We walked through the whole area, and it's a huge area. It's not just like one pyramid. You'll see several pyramids, and the guy told us stories of that, how it went, how it was built, how it's all mathematical, how it's based on the the solar year. And I can't remember all the history he taught us, but it was so much interesting history that this professor, who was our tour guide, taught us. If you get a chance, take the tour and let them tell you all about the area, because it is literally amazing. And it's amazing Mayan history down there too.
And I don't think you originally wanted to go.
I did not.
It was wonderful. It was a well-spent day.
Well, it's been a couple of days.
Yeah.
Actually, we spent, I want to say 2 days, because the first day we just went and kind of got to look for the area in Playa. The second day we bought the tour package. Actually, it's 3 days. And the third day we went to Chichen Itza and the Cenotes. So it took us 3 days altogether to see all of this stuff in that Quintana Roo, Playa del Carmen, Yucatan area. So if you get a chance to go, plan your time. I recommend you stay for at least 7 days, so you can't see all this stuff in 1 or 2 or 3 days. Take a week. And you're gonna want to decompress a little bit. So it was fun to go out there. And if you know some people, ask them about things to do out there. One of my old high school classmates, his family is actually from that area of the Yucatan. So it's kind of cool for me to post pictures and him to see that and say, oh my God, my family is from there. I haven't been there since I was a kid. So things like that are a great history. But we loved it. We plan to go back, and there's so much to see down there we haven't seen. They actually have a boat tour that takes you from the Playa del Carmen over to Cozumel. We didn't do that. Maybe next time we go, we'll do that. But next time we go, we're definitely going to stay in the Playa area, rent a condo or something like that. But that's enough of our Mexico trip. We got so much more I want to show you. Look for the shorts. We're going to put a bunch of shorts up that talk about the things we saw, the things we did, the places we ate, the taco and kebab place. You got to see that. So there's more to come. And until next time, see you later.
Have a good night.